have the communist repellent, and then you might have the socialist repellent, and they're going to want to break your company up into the three different factions, of your company, because you're too big. You're too big. And we got to break up these banks. We got to break up this repellent company. They're too big. All they have is they have the lions. They have 90% of the repellent market. That's too big. They're a monopoly. Just saying. But that is true of liberals. They will be the first to get upset with you. And they will get really upset with you when you don't even take even the smallest and most minute of advice to heart and actually utilize it. I've seen it time and time again. And, I've seen belligerent people time and time again. Hey, and you know what really smokes some people is when you tell them you don't need them. Ooh, that really, especially a liberal man. Oh my goodness, you want to see them go off the deep end and flip out on you? Oh, wow. You didn't build that. You need help. You had to have everybody's help to be. You say, no, I don't need you to be in my business, to help me with my business, to be around my bit, to do anything. I don't need you. Goodbye, be gone. And they will flip out on you. I'm telling you, try it sometimes. If you have a liberal that's bugging you, in your business or in your work, your career, what have you, just try it one day and say you don't, and be sincere that you don't need them, and watch them flip out on you. Because that is like kryptonite to a liberal. He doesn't need me. Yes, he does. He does need me. He needs me. And they all need me. They all need us. They need us liberals because we know what's best. They can't say they don't need us because they didn't build that. They need us. And they'll probably try to pass laws, to force you to need them, much like Obamacare. Just saying. Just so you know, ahead of time. But yeah, just tell a liberal that sincerely, you do not need them. If you have a liberal boss, just walk into his office, one day after he's been belligerent to you or something, and just say, you know what? I don't need you, and I don't need this job. Because you know what, folks? You can get another job. But the economy, no. If you're worth anything, you don't have to worry about it. Because if you're worth anything, even in a bad economy, other businesses will recognize your worth and snatch you up. May not be things that you like, but you have other opportunities out there available to you. You can even start your own thing. That's right, I said thing. Start your own thing. You could go on tour. Gabriel Iglesias is a prime example of success in this country. And I know some people are saying, how the hell does he go from Hillary Clinton to Gabriel Iglesias, an international comedian? Well, you don't think that Hillary Clinton's a comedian? She's not a funny one, but she is one. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But Gabriel, the Fluffy, for some people who don't know him by his first name, Gabriel. Fluffy, or in the Middle East, his name is pronounced Jibril. Yeah, I saw that. So I think he's hilarious. Especially the stuff where he gets pulled over by police officers. Isn't that right, Sam? Yeah, that's right. I gotta tell you, he's the funniest thing when you pull over somebody. Because I was a cop. I was a traffic cop. I was a cop. I saw all this stuff. I saw it. And that's why I say you gotta speak American. And if you make me laugh, I could work with you then. Just make me laugh. And yeah, so Sam gets it. But Gabriel is just hilarious. But he started out at the bottom like everybody else does in every career. And he had to work his way up. He used his talent to work his way up, and people recognized it, and they started to promote him, and he started getting bigger and bigger venues, and then now he's a internationally known comedian, and he's got my attention. I think he's hilarious. I think I've seen all his tape televised specials. Man's hilarious. He's like a clean Richard Pryor. Now, Richard Pryor. I mean, he had kind of a foul mouth for 70s and 80s, but let me tell you, Richard Pryor was hilarious. No, let me put that in colloquial terms. Man was funny, yo. He was hilarious. And laughter is a good thing, except when you're laughing at your political candidates. It's good to laugh at clowns, but not when those clowns are your politicians and your leaders. And we don't want to have to laugh at them, because then the joke is on us, pretty much. So Hillary's Libya problem. She's got a broader... Now, this isn't funny, but it is funny. Because it bleeds over into Obama, and she's trying to separate herself or distance herself from Obama's strategy and lack of policy and what have you. But it's going to come back, and this is where, Republicans should be, snapping at her heels and biting her in the butt. I probably shouldn't have said that, because some people are going to think, oh, that is just so sexist. Rod is being just perverted, biting Hillary in the butt. What's the matter with you? Yeah. We're not going to go there. But she'll face a broader challenge in what's become of the North African country since as Secretary of State in 2011. She was a public face of the U.S. intervention, they're calling it, to push out its longtime strongman, Muammar Gaddafi. Now, Libya's lapse into the chaos of failed statehood has provided a breeding ground for terror and a haven for groups such as ISIS. So they went in there without now the president's saying, well, we don't have a strategy for ISIS in Iraq, or ISIL in Iraq. We don't have one. And they didn't have a strategy in Libya either. They don't have a real Middle East strategy. They just don't have one. They don't have one that's working. They don't have one that even resembles a real strategy. So she's going to be out on the campaign trail, and she's going to get involved. If she's the nominee, she's going to get hammered with this, rightfully so, by any and all Republican candidates. They should be hammering her on, because they talk about, last week I had Neil from the Ted Cruz camp on this program, and he talked about Ted Cruz having real foreign policy experience. But I got to tell you, anybody in the in the Republican field right now has a better handle on foreign policy than Hillary Clinton. This woman just doesn't get it. Well, maybe she does, but she's not all that. Somebody told me, I said, well, Hillary's pretty smart. They said, no, I disagree. I said, what do you mean? And he said, yeah, she's one of the dumbest people you'll ever run across. I said, well, you may, if you're talking raw intelligence, that might be so, but she's pretty smart and savvy politically. And he said, no, she's not, Rod. The woman is a joke. Yeah, hey, joke, comedian. I said, okay, explain yourself, Lucy. And he proceeded to go down this list. And I said, well, yeah, and you consider it that way, but she's still able to get by it all. Yeah, she's got this Benghazi problem. She's got this Libya problem. She's got the Russian reset problem. She's got the email problem. She's got, the Clinton Foundation problem. She's got the China problem. She's got all kinds, the Afghanistan problem. She's got all kinds of problems that could be associated with her while she was Secretary of State and with Obama. But somehow that isn't affecting her. So that means that she's savvy enough. And he's like, no, that doesn't mean that she's savvy. It means that her husband is savvy. I said, well, yeah, Bill is savvy. And it means that the Democrats don't have any other candidates, so they put all their hope in her. Well, that wasn't savvy of the Democrats then, was it? He's like, no. And, as it stands right now, unless she does become savvy, and she could become very savvy by hiring, the best campaign people, but and paying them very well. It's hard. You would be hard pressed to envision, January 2017, Madam President-elect taking the oath of office. I don't see it. I'm not saying it's not possible, and I'm not saying it's not plausible. It is not likely, but in love, war, and politics, anything is possible. Which is why you have to be on your toes with her all the time. You can't let her skate. Look, this woman should have to answer for her policy blunders, like Libya. She should have to answer for her policy blunders like Egypt. She should have to answer for her policy blunders like Iraq and Iran, in Russia, in China. You can't let her off the hook on this stuff. And I don't think that anybody in the Republican side is going to let all this stuff lapse, because they just Obama and well, not just Obama, but the French also helped, but they destroyed a nation with no plan of rebuilding it, and that was Libya. They took out a government, a regime that was stable there. It was, you could say what you want about Muammar Gaddafi. You can even, he wasn't a fan of mine, but, I should say I wasn't a fan of his, but you know what? It was a stable country. And now it's not. And, we've seen what happens when you destabilize a country. Well, we had our embassy back there. Well, big deal. We lost 4 Americans. I mean, do you really think that was worth it? Do you think all the chaos that came after was worth it? I really got to say, no, it wasn't. But well, you could say that it was, but I don't think it was. Wasn't worth it in my book. So, but she's got some splaining to do. But only because the lamestream media, well, CNN is bringing this up. So, hey, Republicans, you should pay attention. If CNN is bringing this up, then you know that you've got an obligation and a duty to bring this up constantly on her, to get some answers. Force her to answer you. That's what you do when you're in a campaign for president.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back